Hey, and welcome to Tamer's Adventures in Music once again, and welcome to also my new studio. Have you ever wondered about the second album problem, or the sophomore year problem, or sophomore slump also known, or why after a new start the next project can be the hardest one? Sophomore slump is known in studying, in sports, and in music, and usually it means that after the good start first year in the major leagues, the next year is the hardest one, and the results might drop. In my case, it's not about the the real second album. It's about that Bike Stories was a fresh start, and now the Office Hours, which is the upcoming thing, is the second one after the break. Tamer's Adventures in Music. In 2020 I released the We Shall Call Him. That was my first album. Actually, it was ready already in 2019, but I hesitated to release it. I really didn't have any plans to release it, and when the corona came, the global pandemic in 2020, I just thought that I will just put it out and forget it. And 2020, as you know, there was the pandemic, but there was other things also. I was pretty busy with a new role in my work life. It took lots of time. There was this house building going on. That project was going on, and other things in life also meant that I wasn't able to do music, or the music wasn't my priority at that moment. I was super busy. I think I was doing studying also then. In 2021 we moved to this house, and I got my own studio space, not this one, the other one, and I started to do Twitch streams. I started it with the some Instagram clips. I did a beat every day, and I placed some thoughts with text on top of it, and it developed into the streaming, and in the end I streamed every day for like an hour. I had a story ready. I had the sounds ready, and I just made it live, the whole thing, and it was really interesting experience in that sense, that I was able to push so hard with that. I mean, I remember waking up probably at 4:30 or something like that, and I was super tired, but I was just thinking that, oh man, show must go on. So I was able to push myself to the limits of my capability, or my resources, and I almost burned myself out with that thing. So key takeaway was that I was able to push myself, of course. I was forced to learn by doing every day, and I think it developed my sound pretty much. And one thing also that was quite interesting experience is that I was able to develop this setup pretty fast, because I did a stream, I had some problems, and I worked around those problems. So that was great learning. So I remember that in December, for the Christmas 2021, I had done the streams for the whole autumn, and I started a break. I think my plan was to have a January break from the streams and get back on it in February, but I never came back, and I was so burnt out about music making that I just wasn't into it. Then in spring of 23 I started to cycle to the office, and then at the same time I started to fiddle around with some music. I just did some ideas with the phone, but really nothing serious at that point. And I cycled the whole summer, and in the end of the summer 23 I came up with the idea that I might go and do an album around cycling. The theme could be cycling, and I really didn't start to do it then, but I let the idea cook for a while. So when I was I think I was on holiday in 23, the Christmas holidays, I started to think that, okay, I have this Electron Octatrack over here, and I haven't used it for a while. I really don't know how to use it. I've heard that it's one of the most complicated samplers in the world, but when you learn it, you get much out of it. So I thought, okay, I'm on holiday, I can focus, and let me try that thing for 2 weeks. So I'll put all the efforts into learning the Octatrack, and if I don't get it working, or if I don't find good way of working with that, I'll sell it. But in the end I was able to make a huge amount of ideas with that, and in the end that came to be the Bike Stories album. So about the Bike Stories, when I started to work around that, I thought that more as a mixtape. So I will make a bunch of tracks, and I will just put them together and send it out to friends. See just what comes up, and I wasn't thinking about any strategies or releasing that thing. I was just making fun music with the goal to make it, put it out on April and send it to people. So this was all about having fun and relaxing. And now, as we think about the office hours, which is the next fully thing, it's completely different, because Bike Stories came out spontaneously. Is that the word? And of course, I was involved in an album group when I was making the Bike Stories. So there was like this structure, there was this deadline when to get things done, and there was this structure in that sense that there was these points in time that things need to be done, and that structure helped quite a bit to get things over the finish line. And of course the lightness, you can hear it in the Bike Stories, because there wasn't any pressure making it, because I had so long break before making it, and there was no that kind of thing. Super fun. Now we move into the office hours, and why did the office hours felt much harder? I felt that I couldn't approach office hours anymore as a mixtape, because Bike Stories is already out or coming out. In my mind it's a finished thing, so the mixtape thinking didn't fit into that concept, and now it was like a proper album. And because in Bike Stories everything was organic and about the freedom and that kind of thing, Office Hours has been more like designed thing maybe, and in that sense the whole thing has affected the feeling of the making, and the process has been quite a bit rougher. And of course the topic of the album has affected. Bike Stories, it's light, it's fun, it's about cycling, the freedom of movement, but Office Hours, it's about work life, and I find work life sometimes a little bit overwhelming and more pressurized. So in that sense, that has spilled into the making. And of course, during the autumn, the momentum went away quite many times. Another thing which sets the Office Hours and Bike Stories apart is that in Bike Stories I had 120 ideas, if I remember correctly, where I started from, and for the Office Hours I decided that if I'm going to make a better album I need to have more ideas, so I decided that I will do like 200 ideas. So now as I look back, the Bike Stories amount of ideas was manageable, but the Office Hours over 200 ideas started to affect the process quite a bit, in that sense that even the listening of the ideas took quite some time, and when I put the Office Hours ideas into the next phase, there was so many ideas to go through that I felt that it affected the process. There wasn't this momentum happening, and because the amount of ideas started to overwhelm me, and I wasn't so into that making process of that album. And because there was so many tracks, I started to put things forward too early, and I didn't go with the discovery phase. I didn't went in and tried to find the idea of those tracks. And now as I listen to the tracks, the ones that I throwed forward and didn't do the discovery for, I hear that the tracks aren't that good. The ones that I cycled through many times in discovery phase, they found their meaning and they are better in music sense. So from this, what I can take away from this experience is that I will limit my ideas for the next one around 100. Another thing with the Office Hours, or about picking up the theme for the album, is that is it close enough for your experience? And by that I mean Bike Stories, it felt good, it was something that I've enjoyed a lot, but Office Hours, I started it with the idea that I will research about capitalism and how we live in this at the moment, how the wealth is distributed in the world, and how does that affect. everything, but as I made the tracks, that really didn't resonate with me. I didn't feel it, the whole concept, and I haven't lived through that, so it was really hard to come up with the track ideas. And the office hour tracks started to find their shape when I decided that this is about my experiences in the office life, how I have felt, what I've seen. Then those stories started to bring those tracks alive. So to keep in mind, the theme needs to be close enough your experience. Then another thing is this the feeling of wholeness. For some reason, bike stories feels more certain than the office hours. Bike stories, it's full concept. It's like a full album. I can hear it, and I cannot change even the track order because I feel that it's a whole. Office hours doesn't feel that way. Office hours, there's good tracks in it, but as a whole, at the moment at least, it doesn't feel so. Of course, there are, at the moment, it's still, I'm way too close for the process, so I haven't really chosen the tracks, what will be there and what's the order. But as I have listened to it through, it has felt that there are a couple of tracks which will rise on the top and others are not that good. And on the bike stories, I feel that it's more in line. It might not be, but at the moment it's the feeling. And if I think about playing those tracks live, I feel that I can go and play the bike stories out in that order that they are or will be in the album, but for the office hours tracks I probably wouldn't play them out, and I would just pick few tracks and mix them with the bike stories. And now you are wondering why I'm talking about these things this week, so bike stories and office hours. That's because I've been getting the bike stories ready for the album release, and I have been planning for the how to play them live. So that meant that I listened the bike stories through, and I also listened the office hours tracks. And now I've worked so that the Octatrack will act as a master performance machine, and then I will have Ableton Live playing some synths, and with Ableton Push I'm able to play notes in, and now I'm looking forward how to resample into Octatrack, and if I could bring more live elements and performance into my live set. So that way I also learn other things from Octatrack, and when I start to do the bike stories number 2 in the autumn, I have some tricks in my sleeve. So I've actually already put the bike stories 2 in the calendar when I will start the process and when it will be ready. Okay, now what I have learned from this from these records. So momentum is everything, and I think one of the biggest things to keep momentum up is to be in the album group, so that there's people who are also making albums, coach preferably, who is also giving tips and showing the roadblocks probably. And of course you shouldn't put too much pressure on the album. Just do it and decide later what you will do with it. Of course, Bike Stories Part 1, it was a new experience. The whole album group thing was new, and with the office hours I've already went through that, so there was not that newness in it. So that is something to keep in mind next time. And of course the album theme must be close to the heart. Of course sometimes you need to be aware of that you might need to change the course a little bit if it doesn't feel right. So try to pick subject that is close enough. One thing is also to go without the theme into the process, but I haven't tried that one yet. That's the way to let the tracks tell you what is the theme of the album. I might try it at one point. Too much ideas can choke the process, so keep that in mind also. And yes, the structure and deadline for the album are really essential. So as I said, I've already put into the calendar when I will do the Bike Stories to get it before December ready. So that's about my second album problem, or the Sophomore Slump. Now I have went through with it. I learned a lot, and I think that next one will be easier. But of course there will be new problems to solve and new things to learn. If you have your story about your second album problem or Sophomore Slump, please leave a comment. I would like to hear them and maybe get some inspiration from those. And thank you for watching. If you watched this far, I'm super thankful for you, and I hope that my studio this time didn't look too weird. I will work on it when I check this material and how this new concept is working. So thank you, and I will see you in the next one.